Hi, this video is very important because we're going to learn a very important concept which you will definitely get in your board paper and you're sure to attempt this problem. So this is very important, okay? So in my previous videos, you should have seen a normal regular partnership admission problem, a complete problem, how to approach and solve. Okay, this is an adjustment of capital method, okay, and we're going to deal with case 1. Okay, we will see both the cases, case 1 and case 2. So this is going to be case 1. I have taken problem number 56 of your T.S. Grewal illustration, page number 4.6 as reference. Okay, so this is adjustment of capital method. I will tell you what is different from a normal method and an adjustment of capital method. As usual, we're going to simultaneously open all the account, revaluation account, capital account, I have the balance sheet here, but you also have to open another account called cash account, okay? Then I have space for working notes here, okay? As I already told you, we will open everything simultaneously. First, let's see the problem and see what we have to do in the first place, okay? So we have almost all reserves in this problem, like I told you before. General reserve, workmen's compensation fund, investment fluctuation fund. In the asset side, we don't have goodwill or we don't have any other losses. If you look at the old ratio, it's 3:2. Vaishali is being admitted as a new partner for 1/4 share. You can see the problem. Vaishali is bringing in 20,000 as capital and 4,000 for a goodwill. Okay, so the hint for you to understand it is case 1 is nothing but the incoming partner's capital will be given. In case the incoming partner capital is not given, then that is case 2. But here the incoming partner's capital is given and 4,000 is a share of goodwill. So quickly we will go and divide the goodwill and keep so that we'll have the information handy. So goodwill is 4,000. We are dividing that for the existing partners in the old ratio, which is sacrificing ratio. So you get 2,400 and 1,600. So one working notes is over for us. Okay, we'll quickly fill the revaluation part. If you look at the next adjustment, all debtors were good. This statement tells us there is no bad debts or provision for doubtful debts. When they say that all debtors are good, take off the provision completely. That's what they mean. Look at the problem. We have debtors 15,000. We don't have any provision for bad and doubtful debts as such. No, I have it on the liability side. Provision for bad debts 2,000. So this is something you need to note it. In certain problem, they give it as a deduction in debtors. So when you look at the adjustment and you look at the debtors on the asset side, what you might think is there is no provision and you will simply ignore the adjustment. That's when you need to use your presence of mind. Quickly go to the liability side and check, because a provision can also be shown on the liability side. It can also be shown as a deduction from debtors or it can also be shown in the liability side. I've chosen this particular problem so that all reserves are covered plus these adjustments are covered. Okay. So there is a provision for 2,000 which is provided. I need to take off that. Okay. So which is decrease in liability or increase in asset. So I put it on the credit side of the revaluation account by provision for bad debts. That's 2,000. Okay. I'm done. The next adjustment, market value of investment was 15,000. Like we've already discussed, investment is 20,000 and market value is 15,000. So what's happened here? 5,000 decrease in the value of investment. So what do? This decrease in the value will meet out of the reserve. Do I have a reserve? Yes, I do. Investment fluctuation fund is 11,000. So I will use that 5,000 out of the 11,000. So how much is pending? 6,000. So immediately investment fluctuation fund 6,000 I've divided among the old partners in the old ratio. So Charu gets 3,600 and Harsha gets 2,400. So investment fluctuation fund is divided over. The next adjustment, there was a liability of 6,000 for workmen compensation. Whenever you see an adjustment for liability for workmen compensation, you immediately go to the liability side and check if there is a reserve for it. Do I have a reserve? Yes, there is a workmen compensation fund. So that's 9,000. So I'm going to use this workmen's compensation fund for the liability. So I will meet 6,000 out of it. I have 9,000 in the reserve. If I utilize 6,000, I'm left out with 3,000. That I'll have to divide among the old partners. The balance 3,000 is divided. Charu gets 1,800 and Asha gets 1,200. So that is done. Once you're done with every adjustment, put a tick mark to make sure that you have done with the adjustments. When I'm done with this, immediately I'll go to the liability side. I'll put the debt as 15,000. There is no bad debts, so I'll put the debt as. What about other adjustments? So there's no other adjustment, so I can simply fill the creditors here, 17,000. Next is the general reserve. What should you do? You have to divide the general reserve in the old ratio. So general reserve is done. Workman's compensation is divided. Investment fluctuation fund is divided. It's gone. Provision for bad debts, it's no more in the picture because every debtors are good. Over. So capital accounts, yeah, I'll leave a space because I need to get the adjusted capital. So this is Charu, Harsha and Vaishnavi. So I'm leaving a space for all the three. Okay, this place will be left blank for the time being. The next thing what I have, okay, the last point is a very, very important point. This point tells you this is an adjusted capital method. I'll read that for you. Capital accounts of Charu and Harsha are to be adjusted on the basis of Vaishali's capital by opening current account. What do you mean by this? What do they mean by this? See, they're telling you Vaishali is bringing in 20,000 as a capital. Now, taking her capital as base, we need to adjust the capital accounts of the existing partner, which are nothing but Charu and Harsha. So, how do we adjust this? When this adjustment is given, that is when you understand this problem is an adjusted capital method. And mainly in your 8 marks partnership admission, you get an adjusted capital method and you're good with this concept, you are sure to bag the 8 marks. Okay. And I'm definitely sure that you need to attempt an admission problem. Okay. So that's when you need to do this calculation. So in a normal problem, what you do is you fill in all the adjustments in the capital account, you total the account, the balancing figure what you get, you take it as an adjusted capital. But here in an adjusted capital method, you don't arrive at a balancing figure wherein you fill the balancing figure. So we are going to fill the closing capital for them. How are we going to fill? We are going to find out the total capital of the new firm based on Vaishali's capital. So to calculate that, Vaishali's capital is 20,000. So 20,000 into reciprocal of her share. Her share is nothing but 1/4. So I get 4 by 1. That gives me 80,000. 20,000 into 4 is 80,000. So this 80,000 is nothing but this is going to be the total capital of the new firm based on Vaishali's capital. If you take the formula goes this way. It's capital of the incoming partner divided by the incoming partner's share. When I take that up, when I multiply that, it becomes reciprocal. That's what I've done here. So 80,000 is the total capital of the new firm and I'll have to divide this for all the 3 or all the 2 in the new ratio. Please keep in mind, so far we have not used the new ratio, but when it comes to adjusted capital method, new ratio has to be used. Okay, always the new capital should be divided among the partners in the new ratio. Okay, so you need to check any adjusted problem you come across, check if the new ratio is given. If it's not given, you need to calculate the new ratio and you should know how to calculate the new ratio. That is separately dealt in a different video as such. So when I get the new ratio, I'll divide for Charu, Harsha, Vaishu. If you divide for Vaishu, obviously you'll get 20,000 as Vaishu's share. So when I do that, I'm getting 36,000 for Charu, 24,000 for Vaishu, Harsha and 20,000 for Vaishu, which I'm going to fill it in my capital account. So to balance carried down will be 36,000, 24,000 and 20,000. Okay, so this becomes the closing capital. I think you got the difference. In a normal problem, this is a balancing figure. In an adjusted capital method, you find out the total capital of the new firm, divide it in the new ratio and put it as the closing figure. When you do this, you are making the capital proportionate to the incoming partner. So if there is any surplus, they have to withdraw, or if there is any deficiency for this amount, they have to bring in. That is what we are trying to do here. So if at all we get a difference, generally it is transferred to cash account, meaning They have to withdraw, bring in. But if the problem specifically says adjustment has to be made through current accounts, if you look into this problem, they have mentioned in the last point, capital accounts of Charu and Harsha has to be adjusted on the basis of Vaishali's capital by opening current account. So when this is mentioned, then the balancing figure you don't transfer to cash account, instead you put it to current account when the problem specifically states. Unless and otherwise, you put it to cash account, you transfer to cash account. Okay. Now let me check if I have filled everything before I go in. I have the balancing figure, your opening balance. I've got the new partner's capital, general reserve is transferred, workman's compensation reserve is transferred, investment fluctuation reserve is transferred, premium for goodwill is transferred. Is there anything that I missed out in this problem? Yes, I have not put the revaluation profit or loss. So I am going to close this now. I don't have any other adjustment. So obviously this will result in a profit of 2000, which I have to divide it for Charu and Harsha in the old ratio. So the old ratio is 3:2. So I am getting 1200 and 800. So that profit has to be brought in here. So by revaluation profit, it is 1200 and 800. Okay. Now as usual, we'll close this account, get the balance. Okay. See which side is higher. You might even get a balance higher this side or this side. Close this account. I'm getting a difference. So this side is higher. So I'm getting a difference here. So what should I put here? Because the problem is mentioned, I'm going to put current account here. Otherwise, I transfer them to cash account. I'm getting a balancing figure of 5,400 and 3,600 for Charu and Harsha. You got it? So I put that here. Now, the closing capital has to be taken to the balance sheet. 36,000, 24,000 and 20,000 respectively. That gives me 80,000. Anything else left out in the balance sheet? Yes, a lot of things. I have cash here. What do I do with cash? I've told you in the previous video itself, we have to add the incoming partner's capital and the goodwill, which is 24. So cash I have 6,000, so plus 24,000. Okay, so that will give me 30,000 here. The next thing I have investments. Investments new value is 15,000. There's a decrease in the value. Next thing is plant and land and building, no change. So I put that as it is. 14,000 land and building. I'm using short forms here because I have lack of space in my board. But you guys aren't supposed to use short forms. You lose marks. So make sure you use the complete word land and building or partner's capital account. Even for the reserves, write the complete word in full stretch. Okay. So I think I'm done with everything now. So all we need to do is balance the balance sheet. That's it. So what is different in this problem? It's adjusted capital method. I have derived the closing capital of the capital account. So I found out by calculating total capital of the new firm. That's based on the incoming partner's capital as a base. This is case 1. So you take the incoming partner's capital as a base and find out the total capital. And that is divided in the new ratio. This is the only change. And you're also supposed to open a cash account generally. Okay, probably I can do that for you. Since it's an 8-mark problem, even if it is not asked in the problem, it's better you go for the cash account because the mark allocation will be done. Cash account is an asset account, so it will have a debit balance. So the opening balance is what? 6,000. The new partner is bringing in capital as well as goodwill. So that's cash to Vaishali's capital. That is 20,000. Cash to premium for goodwill 4,000. So totally it is 30,000. I bring that here. So my closing balance is 30,000. That's my balance carried on, which I have taken it to the balance sheet. You can also do this way, but when it's an 8-mark problem, remember you open this cash account also. Otherwise, you might tend to lose marks. Okay? So revaluation account, capital account, cash account, and then the balance sheet. Finally, it's the working notes. But you got to know how simultaneously you do this so that you complete this problem in 12 minutes approximately. Only when you're able to complete a problem in 12 minutes, you'll be able to complete the entire paper. Because you guys know that your papers are jam-packed, you don't have time for, you don't have extra time to think and then do all that, okay. So this is how you solve an adjustment of capital method, case 1, okay. Hope you guys understood this concept. Any doubts? Feel free to contact me, write to me or put a comment below. Thank you so much. See you in the next video in adjustment of capital method case 2. Thank you.